Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Go ahead and unmute, type in. Go ahead and fire away.
And go ahead, Denise, then Chris.
Hey.
Hi, Greg. Hi, Sam. Hi, everyone. When we did the chakra weekend in Westland, Oregon.
Oh, yes.
Okay. I wanted to ask about, I think you had suggested the vagal support for me, or would I want it in
Vagal tone. Sure.
vagal tone? Okay. Would I want it in an oil or a body tonic?
Well, that's a good question. Let me think about that for you for a sec. I think an oil for you. Get it in a roller ball so you can inhale it and then rub it on the sides of your neck.
Oh, that's great.
Like, kind of like up and down on this like side area. That area will impact vagal tone quite substantially.
And probably wouldn't hurt that thigh, because I do tend to have a low thyroid. So okay, very good. That sounds excellent.
I don't know that's going to do anything for your thyroid, but I mean, having better vagal tone will improve like endocrine function, but I don't know that it'd be super specific to your thyroid.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just that area, like when you work that side of the neck, it will impact vagal tone quite substantially.
Oh, excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. How about the fascia release? Is that something that I should be considering?
Well, I mean, I could make a case for almost anybody using that one. It's good for unwinding the connective tissue. It helps to unwind the aspect. How we talk about being able to hit that anabolic state. There's the aspect of the immune system, the nervous system, the endocrine system, rebooting in deep sleep. And the other one is like muscle, but it would be muscle and fascia. And so that is a great way to unwind the body. And the thing when you unwind fascia like that is it allows the energy body to release more and to absorb more. And so a lot of nice things happen, like old emotions just come floating out. Sometimes we think we have to release certain things, but sometimes it's not that we have to go through and process like an old situation. Sometimes they're just impacted. And like fascial release is a great way to start unpacking stuff so that it just like kind of floats away.
And would that be in a body tonic on that one, Greg, please?
Again, I would probably go rollerball because you can get a lot out of just inhaling that. If you were treating a lot of something very specific in the body, you could do that. But I like the idea of a rollerball or did you do the org programming class?
That's one I've only really done the
Okay, I was going to
foundations.
say it's in that kit. It's a little tiny bottle, but the idea being that like I'd probably do like a 5 mil roller because you might want to put it on places from time to time, but I would say inhaling it is pretty potent about unwinding the fascia. But like as you unwind the fascia, a lot of what you would call homeostatic emotion, which is just impacted in the body. It's not emotion about how we feel. It's just like these like really low emotions that get generated by the body. They impact the body and then it slows down your ability to heal and to feel good. And, even when you treat something as far as a symptom is concerned, it doesn't really respond very well because of the impacted like emotion. And so working the fascial release helps. It's one of the ways to help things release.
And then would I use like left side, front side, right side, back, or the other
Yeah,
way?
you can do that because it's part of the programming, but I'd also go like into the body, go into like if you have an area in your back or your neck, you could go into there. And sometimes I just do that practice where, you sit still for a moment and then you feel something in your body and say you're having a difficult situation with a person or something, you go in and tap into that person, and then you feel it in the body. And then as you feel it in the body, inhale the fascial release, and it will help unwind that emotion that's impacted in the body.
Wow. I don't know if it was the Milong we did, but when I met with my son, the next day, just as you said, I mean, just now, I'd never had this happen. I could feel parts of my body literally going into this deep, deep release of just sorrow and grief. I
Yeah,
never
yeah,
cried so hard. And
yeah.
it did, once it shifted, it was amazing. But
We're,
I
yeah,
would never have guessed it was all that deeply
yeah,
embedded in so many parts. So I will definitely order this one and
yeah.
the other one.
It's a weird thing, because we think about like sadness and grief as being like something in our mind or something in our emotion, but our body generates a lot of that as well. Like whenever you have pain, your body is generating something that feels very similar to hurt feelings, but it's hurt. Your body is saying my feelings are hurt, but it's like my nerves are hurt. Like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It registers in the brain the same, but the cause is not always the same. And so once we kind of start to realize that that kind of stuff happens, the more you unwind that, the better you feel, the more cognitive you become. You deal with situations differently, and you interact with people differently, and people usually interact differently with you.
This is wonderful. Thank you so very much. I appreciate it.
And then go ahead, Chris, then Lolly.
Hey, Chris.
Thanks, Sam. Hey, Greg.
Hey.
We have a couple questions here. Yeah, so one of the people I'm working on, she had a lens replacement
Mhm.
probably a couple months ago, and it went great.
Okay.
Except now she has bumps at the back of her eyelids. And
Uh,
yeah,
like
so
on the
when I
inside or like on the top and the back?
in the inside. So when I only had a few, she told me towards the end, I only had a few minutes to clear, but it was very itchy and the ajna was very dirty. I was wondering if you can give me more insight on how to
It,
approach that.
how to approach?
Yeah.
And has her eyes been real dry or anything, or
Her doctor has given her like these milky eye drops.
like a steroid or something?
I think so. Yeah. She said it bothers her a lot. So probably when her
I bet.
eyes move, it's like
Yeah, I bet. I bet.
scratchy.
Well, I mean, you're probably already doing the things that I would say to do. The other thing that I would probably put in there is like really cleaning the back solar plexus some way, somehow.
Okay.
Like really, I mean, like whatever you have in your mind right now, times it by like 10. Like you could
Okay,
easily
so
spend
double
an
up,
yeah,
triple up.
yeah,
Okay.
like you could easily spend a whole hour on the back solar plexus.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I
And
mean,
then,
you're gonna have to do other things, but like whenever you see something like that, um, I think I was sharing not too long ago, but like there was this one time, this one case where it was a person who was not receiving treatment, but had cancer. Like, I can't remember what it was. It was either inoperable or they didn't have insurance or something. I don't remember what it was. And, I went through and I evaluated and I was like, okay, well, you know, I have my approaches to treating, things like this. But for some reason, I was like, I'm just gonna double down on the back solar plexus. And I think it was 2 months, 2 months, weekly treatments. I treated this person, and all I did was the back solar plexus.
That's it.
When they went back to get evaluated by the doctor, the cancer was gone.
Oh, wow.
Like it was just, and so like here you have like something that's most likely inflammatory.
Uh-huh.
And even if it's not inflammatory, it might even be autoimmune. And
Oh.
as much as you kind of go to the areas and treat the areas, so I like to use the chakra oils, like the it doesn't just like clean something, it makes the chakras like work better. And so definitely between the eyebrows and the temples and things like that. But I would go really hard on the back solar plexus. I would spend a little time on the basic as well, but I'd probably go the hardest on the back solar plexus. And it's not even so much like emotion. It's just a lot of times it's like inflammation and inflammatory response and stress in the body and body tension. It's
Mm-hmm.
not always like a psychological thing. Like you just bear down on that back solar plexus and just wrestle with it for a while.
So you just do green, orange, and then Evie?
I wouldn't even do orange and EV and
Oh,
just
okay.
like green it for like maybe after the second or third time you could start doing a little bit more of the orange, but it would be a lot of just base colors.
Base color. Okay.
Yeah.
Even on the eye area, in the
No,
head area.
I'm talking about the back solar plexus.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Even up here, like, I would probably spend as much time on the back head as I would the ajna.
Okay.
Yeah.
And green only initially.
Like use green healer, violet healer. Yeah. Something like that.
Say that again.
Like green healer, violet healer. Yeah.
Oh, green healer, violet healer. Okay.
Yeah. Which you could also translate that with energy as well.
Yeah. Okay. And then I met this person at a retreat,
Mhm.
and of course the our time together was coming to an end, but he's been suffering from this tension in his gut area, and I had my cardiac at that time, but I was
Mhm.
only able to do a little bit. There's this cord around his, it's almost like in the kidney meridian belt. It's almost
Mhm.
like snake-like, and it's going down to the sex chakra. So it's trying to disintegrate that with the cardiac. And he said he's been working on that for a while, and it moves around.
So tell me what the presenting symptoms were.
Just a lot of achiness in his abdominal area and tightness in the lower waistline,
So on the sides, across the front,
across the front, and sometimes on the side.
let me look something up here real quick. Sometimes the side of his hip.
Mm-hmm. And it felt like almost like a thick rope.
Hmm. Okay. So when you open that up and display that.
Second, we're going to show you.
Okay, so this is a muscle called the quadratus lumborum, and it's like you can kind of see there's a superficial and deep aspect. Your issue is in the superficial component of it,
Mm-hmm.
and it will manifest as stuff along the side, even down on the outer part of the hip, but a little bit more superficial. But it will also cause pain up in the abdomen as well. And so this is what I would go through and treat. You know, it's kind of in that area of the kidney belt meridian. It impacts the kidney belt meridian. It would actually even impact the kidneys and the kidney function a little bit, but you know, it's definitely going to impact the hip. And so I would I mean, you could use your cardiac. I would probably use, like, if you're going to use a mystic tool, I'd probably use the Purba more than anything.
Purba.
And,
Okay.
and then, yeah, just unwind that whole area. Yeah.
He
Like if
lives
you
somewhere
if
else,
you work on
Chris.
it, like look at it, um, look at the picture as you work on it, so it'll be easier for you to visualize.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what about the aspect that it moves around? Should I use electric
That's still probably trigger point activity. Yeah.
trigger point?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah. Like
Any oil
pain,
stuff?
pain stuff like that. You know, pain will fluctuate, it will shift around, things like that. Like that's very normal, very common. I would use
I can't remember what I gave him. I just gave him like 2 or 3 oils before we parted. I think I gave him chakra root cleanser. Maybe camphor.
has he had it for a long time?
I think it's about 1.5 years, 2 years.
Yeah, I would use nerve help. And the reason being that nerve help would help to break the pattern, like the pattern in the tissue. And you know, a lot of times this is also due to like leg length discrepancy. You know, so there's been, even if it's been corrected, there's still been a little bit of an elevated hip on either side that could be causing this. And
Mm-hmm.
so I'd you know, have him breathe oils into his legs and everything, but nerve help would be one. And then chakra
Where would
root.
he put that?
What's that?
Where would he put that? The nerve help.
I have him put it on the low back and on the side. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
He could even put it on the abdomen. but like low back and side. Yeah.
Okay.
And then any sort of lymphatic work would be good. And so lymphatic blend, Bayloro, but you use Chakra root cleanser, that would also work.
Okay.
Helichrysum would work, anything that's, got some lymphatic function to it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you
I
so
like
much.
the idea of the helichrysum
Unicrism.
like on the hips and like inhaling on the hips. And actually, if you go in from the front of the hip, and like in the crease between the leg and the pelvis,
Mm-hmm.
there's a little area in there that has a little minor chakra. He could work that as well. And then, the basic, the Ming Men, the navel minor, like all that would be good. But part of what you're doing with doing that with helichrysum is, so for one, you're hitting the fascia, two, you're reducing inflammation, reducing pain. But helichrysum just by itself is very good for releasing homeostatic emotion out of the body. And
Mm.
anytime you have trigger point activity, there's always homeostatic emotion in the body. I mean, we all have it, homeostatic emotion, but it's an excess in that area.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Any pain syndrome, any like cramping or something, just the act of being in pain will generate the homeostatic emotion, and then that actually makes the situation worse.
Mm. Very interesting. Thank you. One
So,
more, Greg.
mhm.
So I'm trying to be creative with the gallon of sesame oil that I got from you a while ago. So if I put calendula flowers in there, it looks beautiful. It has this brilliant golden
Sure.
color about it. Is that effective in any treatment or?
Yeah, like calendula is very anti-inflammatory, especially for the skin. Like calendula is really good for the skin.
Mm-hmm.
Like for the spikenard ointment, for example, that we put on the feet and stuff, I put it in a base of sesame oil and calendula. So you could do some form of that, like mix it with like spikenard or something that's soothing.
Mm-hmm.
Even things that are for the skin, spikenard being good for balancing the skin, it would be good in other areas, but you can still add like lavender, you could still add helichrysum.
I was
Um,
thinking helichrysum.
yeah, yeah,
Because it
those are
doesn't
very
smell
good.
like anything, you know?
No, the scent's very, very light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that would still, how long should I marinate it and how many buds per
Did you let
ounce?
it dry or was it wet?
Dry.
Dry. I would say like a good 30 days. I usually let it go 60 days,
60
but
days,
30 days is pretty solid. Yeah.
30 days, and how many buds per ounce?
Oh, I would crush them down as much as you can, and then um,
Crushed?
or grind them up, or at least like if they're dry, you can just kind of go like this and break them down.
Mm-hmm.
So it depends on how fine you can get it, but I usually do a ratio of like 2 to 1. So if you have 4 ounces of material, I use 8 ounces of oil. That's pretty strong though, and so you could take 4 ounces of plant and then do like 16 ounces, and that would be good. You know,
So wait, the material is two and then the oil is one? Or is that, did I get that
no, the other
reversed?
way. Yeah, so like
Okay.
one part of the plant material, 2 parts of the oil.
Gotcha.
Yeah, when I do tinctures and oils, I usually try to stick to that 2 to 1 ratio. It doesn't always work, and sometimes there's certain things where it's like saffron. Saffron, I would love it to
That's
be a
another
2 to 1,
pretty one.
but like if yeah, it would make it crazy expensive. So I make that one a 4 to 1. And but other than that, most of the things we do is 2 to 1. but the industry standard is usually 4-to-1 or even 8-to-1. I find
Huh.
8-to-1 to be a little too weak. Like 8-to-1 is almost like what you would do for a massage oil. Like a
Oh,
like a
okay.
ointment kind of massage oil, because it really doesn't have a super strong therapeutic value. Even like tinctures that are 8-to-1, they I don't find that they work very well.
Is that what you'd call this? A tincture or
No, it would
infusion?
be an ointment. It would be an
Oh,
ointment.
This is an
Mhm.
ointment.
Mhm.
The buds are so pretty. I didn't
Oh
wanna
yeah, they're
like
gorgeous.
crush them. So
Yeah.
just crush some of them with that
Yeah, let them,
ratio
and
in
if they're
mind.
dry, just like kind of rub them in your hand and break them down and like make like a little bit of a powder. If you're trying to maximize how much oil that you get in there with the material, you'll want to really grind them down kind of fine.
Okay.
But if you're just doing, something, you just, grind down the bud somewhat.
Okay.
Oil.
Cool. Thank you so much.
Here's some good luck with that.
Thank you.
Kind of fun, huh?
Yeah, it's fun. It's so pretty.
And then go ahead, Lolly, then Linda.
Hey, hey.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Perfect.
How are
Okay,
you?
good. I'm good. Give me just 1 second. I'm trying to. Okay. You hear me okay?
Mhm.
Okay.
I think there's a big echo there, though.
Then okay. I try to be really creative and do the other phone without. It's not working out. Okay. Hi. How are you? Sorry.
Mhm.
So, few things. Quick question about the crystal skull class. I just did that the whole thing this weekend.
Wow, boy, you cranked through that, yeah?
Yeah, so I used the weekend to just catch up on everything. That was, yeah, it was good. It was really interesting because we were like 3 oils. One of them, even Robert mentioned that he couldn't really smell. And I had the same experience actually with about 3 of them. But then yesterday it was fine and I could like, so I don't know, that was like a little bit of a weird thing. But yeah, it was amazing. What I'm wondering about, I'll do it like a general question, but when we're working with them, do we have to work with all of them together, or
Yeah.
is it okay to work with them?
Yeah.
We can work with them
Like
separately.
all of that can be done independently. The part with the five senses, we went through and did all the sacred colors that were in that kit. You could just work one of them. And in fact, in the regeneration class, that's not this weekend, but the following weekend, that free class, Sacred Yellow is one of
There's
the,
I
yeah.
saw one of the oils. Okay.
And
So
so you could just use that, so if you wanted to, when I do it, I tend to do them all. But, I say that, but there's times where I'm like, I'm going to work indigo for a while, or I'm going to work pink for a while, and I'll work it for a few days. But then when you're doing the plant teachers themselves, I mean, you could just do one at a time, and you don't have
yeah.
to do the five senses before. I mean,
Mhm.
it makes it better. It makes it more effective. But with clients, like when I'm doing healings on people, there's times where I just, we don't even do the five senses thing. I just have them do like a short version of the plant teacher component, and it's quite effective. It's quite effective.
So then the shorter version would be what you did in previous Q&A, which is the sex and temples together.
Yeah, and just keep it really short like that. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
The
And
way that it's in the booklet is much stronger, but
mm-hmm.
sometimes you're dealing with somebody that is either overwhelmed or they are pretty new to all this. Like I see a wide range of people, and so if it's like an old pro, I give them the hardcore stuff. If it's a new
Mm-hmm.
person, it's like trying to get a squirrel to get out of your hand. You don't want to make any
Mm-hmm.
too sudden a move and you don't want to make a lot of eye contact. You just want to, get the squirrel to get out of your hand. And so, like it depends on who I'm talking to, basically.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then we're working the five, and when we're working the senses, you do the entire protocol, or is there like a shortcut?
No, no shortcut. Just,
Okay.
yeah. I mean, you just not do all the colors, but
Yeah.
other than that, yeah.
Okay. Okay, so that was about that. Now, let's follow up on my crazy situation. I don't know what's going on. Like, it's weird. I'm so with the whole neck, shoulder, so the shoulder blade is much better. Like, it's barely even there. I don't even. So all the pains that I've been experiencing right now, it's mainly when I'm moving my neck to the left, I can feel that it's really tight, a little bit
Okay.
painful. I've been doing all the other stuff, working the
So
different.
I'm curious, how did it go with working the spinal thalamic tract and the diaphragm? How's it?
I've been doing that for a while now. One day I worked the diaphragm with one of the videos that you have for like half an hour, like the process. So I did that.
How is that making you feel?
It's better. It feels like it's more open.
Yeah. And
But
does the body feel like sometimes even with something like that, you can almost feel like the body's more aligned.
so here's what's happening. There's a few things. One of them, yeah, the body feels overall better. Like, yeah, that's a good way to put it. Like it's more aligned. So it feels better overall. So if I'm just standing or sit, no, if I'm standing, it's mostly like I don't feel anything. Even sitting, I'm mostly fine. The main thing that's still, so there are two other things that come up. One of them that's still, so the pain wise, I'm better. I noticed two things. One, the pins and needles is, I can't even have a word for that. It's driving, it's been a little bit worse. I had nights that, oh, and I've been forcing myself to go to bed a little bit earlier, so I sleep a little bit more. I had nights that I couldn't even fall asleep. I had to put on meditation, I had to put on music, praying. I'm running out of ideas. I have so many things on my body. I've been inhaling so many different oils. I'm taking internally
So
vetiver,
tell me exactly where it's at.
where it's not, it comes and goes various places. It can be the lower back, it can be the legs, it can be the hands, it can be the top of my back. And it's this feeling of, in addition to that, my body, and I've had that in the past, my body gets very sensitive. So I can, even like something that's like a little bit tighter and I've worn for the longest time, I can put it on, I start itching in various areas for no reason. It's not an allergic reaction. All of a sudden I can feel like something on my back, like, and I've been working also like the sides of the spine because I'm like, maybe that's aggravated.
When it's happening, do you start feeling anxious?
Yeah, because yeah, and it tends to be like I can be okay, start the day okay, and then I bend and then I feel it on my knees, like behind my knees. All of a sudden I can feel it on my back. Yeah, it's
Are you
making me
getting like
anxious.
little spasms or little like there's a thing called fibrillations where like your body gets like twitchy, like real superficial part of the skin, but it gets real twitchy, like kind of like flutter.
It varies. Sometimes it's a little bit like that, and sometimes it's like, yeah, it's this itchiness of like, but there's nothing there.
But like is the muscle or the tissue
Yeah,
quivering or fluttering a little bit?
it's not sure about that.
Mhm.
And it comes in various, like it's, and the lower back been actually a little bit more painful. I had a couple of days that it was kind of inflamed a little bit. Like I could feel that it's more inflamed, but it's better now. But the pins and needles, like when I'm going to sleep, that's when it gets worse because my body's like touching stuff. So if my body is touching things, it's kind of getting worse.
Mhm.
But at the same time, it can just show up all of a sudden. And it's making me anxious because I'm running out of ideas on what to do. And I'm trying to like, okay, work with light, with the thoughts, with
And so, like working the spinal thalamic tract, the spine and the diaphragm, did that shift it at all? Like
So
duration, intensity, anything like
the
that?
last couple of nights been better. Been going to bed a tiny bit earlier and I fell asleep way better and I had more vivid dreams. Last night was, yeah, so I had more, so maybe deeper sleep, I don't know. I'm also anxious, I think, when I have to go to bed because I'm afraid of that reaction.
Sure.
But the last couple of nights been better. Few nights before it's been insane, and usually I don't have a problem sleeping. It's not, and I also get it when I feel cold, the cold goes into my bones. It's not a feeling that most people get. I had a conversation with a client today. She has a bunch of different things. One of them is that, and she like, yeah, it gets in your bones. You really feel it. I'm like, yes, I understand what you're saying. So, uh, and another thing that came up that I usually don't get is like muscle spasm, muscle cramps in my right leg.
Calves or
My right calf. I woke up like maybe 4 days ago. I couldn't even walk on the foot. It was so tight. And I do large before bed. I do marjoram. Again, last couple of nights been way better. I just wake up. It's maybe a little bit weird, and then I'm okay. I'm even sleeping with
so
like
what kind of
marjoram.
cramp is it? Like a deep Charlie horse where you gotta like kind of get up and breathe through it, or is it just like a little twitter?
So the first day, like a few days ago, it was that, like the really deep, can't even walk, can't even move, can't. And also mentally, I have a thing with that because a few years ago, again, the weirdest thing, a few years ago, both of my feet I fell asleep by my table, which sometimes happens, both feet were numb, and I moved the right leg in a weird way, and I broke the foot. Like I had a break on the metatarsal on the side from moving my foot.
Hmm.
So
Okay. Well, let me just process this for a moment. And you've been using sage, or have you?
what say? Oh my, say I smell like sage right now. So
Oh,
sage, I tend to do body tonic right now. So right now I actually switched. Right now I did nerve health body tonic all over, which and I did and I put sage in my body lotion. So I did that combination now. But usually I do sage, I do larch, I do marjoram.
How's your digestion?
It's fine. It's pretty normal.
No issues with digestive tract or anything like that.
Not more than usual. I feel like there's always stuff going on with that, but
Like give me an idea of what's going on. Just like in general.
mm,
Like cramping, irregular bowel movements.
no, I think it's pretty much like always. Sometimes like I have like weird sensations after I'm eating, so it kind of stays with me for a while, but that's been going on since I can even like wow. And the only other thing that I changed would be like I started taking collagen.
Hmm.
That's like the vegetarian version, so it's
Sure,
from
sure.
from eggs. So it's the only, and it's that and the bone thing, the salmon seal.
How much have you been using yarrow?
I haven't. Is that a good? I figured that it's gonna come out, but no, I
Yeah,
haven't
like
used it.
I think a couple of things. So for one, yarrow is antispasmodic. For another, it's anti-inflammatory. But you know, these things are, you know how we talk about like sometimes we get triggered emotionally. Your body can get triggered in a way where it's not even like fight flight. It's just it gets triggered into these different like defense processes, you know, and this is what happens like when you've had like a serious injury or something, like, you know, going back to most likely the source being your car accident. But it doesn't look triggered by the environment.
I've been. What also been happening is the more the body actually been kind of feeling overall better, except the mainly pains and needles. My mind is more agitated. Like I'm more
Yeah, see
restless.
that
I'm more
that's
impatient.
I'm gonna go
Yeah,
back to the yarrow on that.
which is
Yeah.
it came up to me earlier. I'm like, oh, I
Yeah.
should probably use
I,
that.
I and so I mean you could put it on topically, but honestly I would probably do it internally. Like I would
Yeah,
just do like the tincture, you know, because it's got some essential oil in it as well, and that's
yeah.
probably enough. And you know, take like a couple of dropperfuls, maybe twice a day, and I think you'll feel something immediately, but over a period of time, like over a couple of weeks, you'll probably feel like that's better. And yarrow is a very good antispasmodic. I mean, a lot of times I don't talk about it the way I talk about like marjoram and things, just because it's blue and it's messy and you know what I mean? It's and it's a lot more expensive than marjoram. So, you know, I try to go to like the things that are going to produce a result and be cost effective. And, you know, then if we need to get fancy, we get fancy. But right off the bat, I'd say, you know, marjoram. But there does look like there's a triggering. Usually, how I would treat this is I would treat it with I would call this like in the vein of fibrillations, and you just get these like little twitchy things that go through the body. They're usually because of misalignments or inflammation in the body, you know, fascial lesions, things like this. Um, I would tend to go there. And Melissa, topically, like I actually have a formula for the fibrillations. I have to look it up. I can tell you what it is. Maybe you can make a little concoction if you want to try doing it yourself.
Yeah, and internally I'm taking all the like I take Melissa, I
Well, this
take
would have to
Sandals
be
for that topically. Yeah.
would be topical. Like
Yeah.
the yarrow would be internal, but
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
it's Melissa, frankincense, ylang ylang, and hemlock spruce, and a bit heavier on the Melissa. Like everything else, you can do like you know, one part, but the Melissa do like 3 or 4 parts.
And then I'll email you so you'll send me that. Would that be
Yeah,
like a
like I can make it for you. We make it. It's
it's easier.
basically it's nerve soothe.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
We have nerve help and nerve soothe. You know,
Okay.
in my brilliance, I named two things really close to each other in the same name, but nerve soothe is about reducing those fibrillations and those little like weird spasms and things that happen. It
So
doesn't feel completely like that's it, but you know, you might want to do a combination of that with the yarrow internal to resolve that.
and then that would be and again the pins and needles, it's not something that just came up. It came up now, but it was going on a few months ago and before that. So it's something that comes and goes every now and then. And really,
Yeah, your body's been
yeah.
degenerating since that accident, so
Yeah.
that's not surprising to me. Like
So
symptoms or like symptoms or you know, an aspect, a condition will continue to degenerate. It might not show up for years and years and years.
yeah.
And it's
And
still the byproduct of that sort of injury. Like think of it like as a like even like our meditations and our idea of loving kindness, it's like a flower blossoming. Like when it's closed, those are like where the symptoms are at. But it's when that flower opens, you know, that's when we're touching something inside of us. And sometimes something good is coming out, and sometimes something not very good is coming out. Like when we're in a degenerative state, that which is coming out and manifesting in symptoms is, you know, they don't look like they go together. They just look like they're coming up random, but it's been in motion for a very long time, coming from the inside out.
yeah.
And so,
And
you know, that's
and
why
so
I had you go really hard at the spinal thalamic tract and the
so
diaphragm. Like
okay, so
just
keep
yeah, I would definitely keep doing that.
yeah.
Your diaphragm was pretty wound up.
So I'll keep on that. I even did oh, so that for the pains, so the nerve soothe, would you do that combination as a body tonic or as an
Body tone,
ointment?
by far. Body tone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll add that to my I have a order anyway. Okay, thank you. So then okay, so keep doing this spinothalamic
Mhm.
track. I even did from the chakra class last night. Yeah. So I did the nervous system last night,
Mm.
which was actually it's really nice. Like the body felt better afterwards.
Just work the back, like from the chakra class, work the back solar plexus. Just keep working the back solar plexus over and over and over and over again. Because the thing with the back solar plexus is, you know, even here when we're talking about pins and needles, you're dealing with body tension. And you know, there's times where it might loosen up, and then there's going to be times where it kind of clamps down.
Mhm.
And you know, yes, it's like you said, you work the nervous system, still good approach, you know, because the reason that that's happening, part of the reason is neurological, and so that was a good approach. But the more that you make the back solar plexus function better, because that's the thing with those chakra blends, is they're not really cleansing or energizing, they're making the chakra work better. And then by doing that, the chakra starts kicking out the tension, the blockages, and starts absorbing, you know, it kind of starts doing what it does. And one of the things that the back solar plexus is heavily impacts is body tension. And like here, you're looking at pins and needles is either there's bone and cartilage compressing a needle with the way that it's bouncing around. I'd say that's probably not the case, unless it's your whole spine. Then I go back to the spinal thalamic tract and the diaphragm.
Yeah.
But most likely what's happening is there's a clamping down in the fascia and tissue. And so what happens is you get these like little things that pop up, and you know, yeah, the nerves could be a little overstimulated or whatever, but still, the more you open up the tension in the body and diminish the tension in the body, a lot of times that stuff will diminish. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been and it's also in random areas that there's no there's
Yeah.
no actual bone
No,
there. It's like not.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, so the baxillary plexus, the spinothalamic tract, diaphragm, and then what about so internally take yarrow, I'll add that to the list as well, and then should I still do like vetiver and because I've been doing vetiver and oh my god, and then spikenard internally as well.
Yeah, you could still keep doing that. Yeah, I would
Okay.
say.
Vetiver feels very the days that I don't smell like sage, I smell like vetiver or both. I've been using so much of that. That's been, yeah. Also been doing Seth Jonesworth, which also feels like it's relaxing. I also been triggered emotionally, I think, more the last few weeks, but last couple of weeks. So okay. And then as far as the muscle spasm in the leg, is that also connected to that?
Probably. Yeah. Especially if it's not responding very well to marjoram.
Okay, yeah. Okay. And then what's the difference between, because I have the body tonic, I have marjoram supreme, but you also have marjoram magnesium, right?
It's body tonic, like if
Yeah.
I make the body tonic, it's got a little bit of magnesium in it. Yeah, it's just topical magnesium.
Okay, because on the website there's I think both of them.
Yeah. Anytime I make a marjoram body tonic, it's got magnesium in it.
Okay, so it doesn't, okay. Okay, so those are the main things to kind of keep working. The good thing is that I feel like my mind is more open, like intuitively, like a few things happen like today that was one of the meditations that I did this morning, one of your previous meditations, and then another session. So I'm like, that I was doing healing on someone. So I'm like, maybe that's the other side. Okay. And then on the body still, other than the nerve soothe, anything else? Just keep alternate.
I'd like to see what that does. Yeah.
Okay. In the meantime, until I'm getting that, just keep alternating everything else.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Even you know, even my skin been kind of breaking out a little bit, and I'm like, I don't know. So I guess I'm
Like acne breaking out?
a little bit. Yeah. Yeah.
I
More
mean,
than
that usually is the body trying to detoxify something.
yeah. And I don't know if I don't think it's an allergic reaction. I don't think I'm allergic
No,
to the
it's
collagen.
the emergency detox.
So then just go through
I
that
keep
and
doing just the things we're talking about. I wouldn't.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm treating it with other stuff. So yeah. Okay. Okay, I'll experiment. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
And then go ahead, Linda, and then we have chat questions as well.
Hey, Linda.
Hey, hi. I was wondering, maybe you could give me some insight about this client I'm working with, the one I had emailed you about for the IP.
Yeah, I'm so sorry I didn't get back to you last night.
That's no problem. And we can certainly put it off and talk tomorrow night if we need to, but I was wondering, because I'm doing another session with her tomorrow morning at 9:30.
Okay.
So I just wondered if there was what we're wondering is, and you know, she's familiar with the oil work and she's done pranic healing and all of that. So what we were talking about was, because it's IPF, the pulmonary fibrosis, and what she's been working so long with the symptoms. And so what we were wondering is what kind of a protocol could we establish for her where we could start to move beyond the symptom work and more into actually shifting her aura, right, and the program so that she
Yeah.
is out completely.
I would say that it's more about like long-term conditioning of the body. Like you're trying to change the way that the body is functioning. And
Okay.
so I mean, if you wanted to treat like the aura component, something up here. So what I would work, because we already have like some things in place with her for the oils, like the anti-sclerotic um, blend that we have her using, and
Okay.
there's a couple things that we have her on. And so if you wanted to increase that and work the aura, is I would work the aspect of neurotransmitters, which is the threshold blend.
Okay.
And give me a second, I'm just looking at something here.
Thank you.
I mean, this is a little bit of a long shot, but if you look at like or evaluate her body,
Mm.
if you go through and you look at different areas, out of everything, her kidneys look really depleted.
Mm.
And I wouldn't say that that's a direct like cause or thing, but like when you see something not working well, I'd be curious if she's had any test on kidney function and where it's at. I don't know that there's a big problem, but the kidneys definitely are depleted. Like, they're doing their job, but they're phoning it in a little bit. You know what I mean?
I
And,
do. Well, and it's interesting, Greg, because her husband is home on dialysis, kidney dialysis.
oh, interesting.
I know. So like, I'm wondering if there's is there any
Oh,
drainage?
I would cut and clean cords between them immediately. Like if
Yeah,
that's the
okay.
case. I don't know that I don't know that I knew that.
I can't. If you did.
Yeah. And if I did, I probably didn't put
Right. Okay.
any value on it. Because I usually don't jump there until like we treat and then it's like, well, it's getting better, but it could be a lot better. Then you start looking at the weird stuff.
Right.
And so I would do little cord cleaning between her and her husband, and just because she's being empathic and his body is looking for energizer bunnies in the area to like have life force to help sustain the body. It's just what happens.
Right.
And so I would clean that up, but mm, any time that you have something like this, the Mingmen and the basic are always a thing to look at. And so even if you want to just work the chakra component, with a blend, like, have her, or with the energy work, like really work the Mingmen and the basic. Just keep going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you say the chakra component, do you mean having her do like the functions of the chakra, doing like working with
Yeah,
it
like the
that?
Ming Min blend and the
Yeah.
basic blend. Yeah,
Okay.
I'd have her do it a bunch and then get in there and do a little energy work on it, and then have her do it a bunch and then do a little energy work on it.
Okay.
Or whatever version of that.
Right.
I don't know
Okay.
if it's a distance or in person or whatever, but
It's distant. She lives at the coast. Yeah.
so
Okay.
yeah, but then just do it with energy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, so with the threshold blend, then would she do that with like the org programming pattern?
Yes. Yes, exactly.
Okay. Okay. All right. The AP pattern. Any way to introduce the Sandalphon technique for here? Would that be useful?
Um, I was visiting in that when I was looking at the program, and it would be okay, but I don't know that it would be. Um, I I kind of don't like to just do busy work to do busy work. You know what I mean? And like when I was
Okay.
looking at it, it's like, yeah, it could be a little helpful, but it felt a little like to me like a little bit of busy work. And so because that's actually where I went to first, like kind of where you're going. Like I was like, that's probably the thing. And when I looked at it, I was like,
Mm,
you know,
okay.
um,
But the programming.
I suspect that the area where it's gonna like make it better or at least slow down the generation or whatever. But we always try to make it as get better as much as possible. um it's going to be more in that vibrational realm, and because then you're getting into really like the function of the body, or the state of the body is a better way to say it. And when I look at that, like whenever you have something that's like really a chronic illness or potential chronic illness, I start to look at the harmonics, which is the ability to the process the body has of establishing patterns. And so energetically it would be harmonics. The physical version of that would be what you'd call metabolic instability. And that's just when the body just goes nuts. So that's like, blood pressure stuff, that's, blood sugar, diabetes stuff, um, uh, things where the body is just a little bit out of whack. So a lot of chronic health issues are like more in that metabolic instability. And so, and in that, kidneys is an issue. Like you go through and you treat kidneys, and you look at cardiovascular function, and you look at the quality of the blood, and you look at things like that. But I'd say with the things that we have her on, and then you working the basic and the Ming Men, and then working the kidneys, I'd like to see where that goes over like maybe 3 weeks or so.
Okay.
And then from there, and when you work the kidneys, delicate regeneration.
Okay.
Yeah. Like I would look at it as, going back to the idea of neurotransmitters, I would use a lot of that throughout the body. Like just regenerating the nervous system and how the nervous system's working. And that's the thing when you do like neurological regeneration, is it's fortifying and it re-educates the nerves how to function more appropriately. And even some of the stuff we gave her is like going in that direction.
Okay.
Yeah. Like
Fantastic. Oh my goodness.
sages are good for that. Chamomiles are good for that. A little bit of helichrysum is good for that. Poplar is good for that, but um, I like to do it little bits at a time, because the most likely her body's been in a pattern for a very long time. And so like I like to kind of do a slow walk and see what works and what doesn't work, because like when you find something that works, you kind of go down that rabbit hole hard.
Mhm.
And if it's just kind of doing something, it's like, well, it's doing something, but we're still looking for something, we're still looking for that, aha moment or that little thing that really tweaks something. And yeah, so explore that a little bit, and then, uh, let's even see how tomorrow's session does.
Absolutely right. So tomorrow I'll definitely do the kidneys, the Mingmen, the basic delicate regeneration when I'm working on the kidneys.
Mhm.
And
Kidneys and like even like the lungs and the digestive tract
okay.
and the bronchioles, like um, yeah, just anywhere that you think, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, terrific. Great. And
That's one area that I like to do it on is the thymus, behind the breastbone.
oh yeah, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. That could be nice for her.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so
You're
very much.
so you're so welcome. Keep me posted.
We definitely will. Take care.
Okay.
And then go ahead, Danelle. Then we have chat questions.
Hey, Danelle.
Hey Greg, I had a couple of things to ask you about.
Sure.
So the first one, I have a client and she has horrible memory recall, I guess. She's 47. She said this has been going on for 6 years. She's been to the regular doctor, right? They can't find anything going on.
Okay.
And 6 years ago, she had a lot of trauma, verbal abuse going on at work and going through a divorce. So since that
Okay. Yeah.
time period, the memory is bad. I've been working with her a little bit on hypnosis, but I thought I would ask you if you had recommendations for
Yeah.
oils.
So when we talk about like sleep and stuff like that, we talk about like having good vagal tone and stuff like that. But memory is dependent on good tone of the sympathetic part of the nervous system. And so,
Okay.
that idea of using rosemary, for example, rosemary is very good about moving blood to the head. But part of why rosemary works so well is it also helps to tone the sympathetic part of the nerves. And so you have things like rosemary, oregano, um, anise would work.
Okay.
Um, boy, let me look at something real quick.
I was thinking of rosemary for her, but I wasn't sure if you had
Rosemary would probably be your best bet. Like if,
Okay.
if you're looking at single oils.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, but like I'm playing with a formula right now of treating sympathetic nervous system dystonia. And so like I'm using oregano, rosemary, verbena, tarragon, and lemongrass.
Okay.
And so the tarragon tones both the parasympathetic and the sympathetic parts of that nervous system. And so you could use like either rosemary or the tarragon. I kind of like rosemary for that.
Okay.
I mean, they've done studies that like rosemary, improves mental function. And, there's a good chance that, like you said, she went through like trauma at work and then she went through a divorce. Sometimes the effect is that it just shreds the nervous system and
Yeah.
out
Okay.
of the situation. And it's like, that's that joke that I make about like, now I got to clean up the crime scene.
Mm.
And
Yes.
the crime scene here is like really poor tone in that, if you think about like if you've been in defense mode and fight flight mode, at some point your body just goes, I'm done. I can't do
I'm
this
done.
anymore. Like I just
hmm
don't have the juice in my legs. And you stay functional, but that part of your nervous system goes, I'm on vacation, I'm not doing anything,
Yeah.
so what can also start happening is like memory issues. They're also their writing will start to change a lot. Like, you know,
Okay.
it's harder to make, you know, like your normal, like you sign your name and it kind of starts changing over a period of time. That's actually sympathetic dystonia. And eventually what happens is they'll start to do this little sway thing, and occasionally even they don't they don't pass out, but they'll start to like drop to a knee or need to sit down and can't get up for a minute, or you know, it looks
Okay.
like they almost like start dancing sometimes. Like they'll be standing there and they kind of start swaying, and it's just
Yeah.
dystonia. Like that's all it is.
Okay.
And
Okay.
so, I mean, I would probably give her. I mean, rosemary will work. Rosemary verbena works a little bit better, but either one works. And I would say 3 or 4 drops, like 3 times a day.
And then any specific protocol or just
It
internally?
just inhaling a lot of the rosemary. Like I
Just
would say
inhale it too. Okay.
rosemary or rosemary and tarragon, but definitely probably heavy on the rosemary.
On the
Yeah.
rosemary.
Yeah.
Okay.
But between the internal and just inhaling it, like she doesn't even
Okay.
have to follow like a pattern. Just inhale
Okay.
be enough.
Yeah,
You
and
know,
rosemary is
like
great
what I
because it's
used to,
inexpensive.
what's that?
It's inexpensive too.
Yeah.
Rosemary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things I used to have people do was something like this. Like I would have them do this after car accidents. And I would say
Okay.
every morning you got to get up 50 inhalations. Like, you know, just, you know, have them just start the day that way. And, you know, it keeps helping them get like functional and um even the stresses of not being able to remember and not being able to do things like normal, and then you know sometimes energy levels are off, that causes like more stress, like it adds to it.
Yes.
And so like
Yes.
the more they start having some positive, you know, experiences, it does start making it easier and easier. You know, it's not something that will happen overnight, but over a period of time you can go through and treat that, and she should feel better over a period of time. You know, but it
Okay.
is not a quick fix. You know,
Yeah, I kind of figured it wouldn't be.
yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
And then my other question is, so I have rheumatoid arthritis and I do take a medication, but I've had to be off of it, I would say on and off since July because I've had a series of sinus infections and
Sure.
viral, it just goes on and on. So what I'm dealing with, well, two things, just a depleted immune system, and just now I have anxiety about taking this medication because it has that association with
Sure.
sickness.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, a lot of times things like that, that's part of what they do is they repress the immune system
Yes.
to treat things. Yeah. Yeah.
And then I guess the more pressing thing is just during the night when I'm waking up, my upper arms, and then there's that little crease, do you know, kind of by the armpit area
Mhm.
in between the chest and the arm. On both sides, it's so bad. I can barely lift my arms just to put a shirt on, for example. And I've been doing different things topically, like pine and birch. I didn't know if you had any other ideas to help with this.
So for rheumatoid arthritis, a lot of times I use joint relief.
Oh,
Like
the joint relief, I have that. Yeah.
yeah, like ointment,
Okay.
neat, body tonic.
Okay.
Usually like when it's like more in the hands, I use the ointment. And like, but I would say if you have it, like whatever form you have it in, just use it. And
Use it.
again,
Okay.
going back, it's got rosemary and some other things in it. But it's really helpful for that condition. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And for the arms,
I would use it on the arms, legs, feet.
legs. Okay, just where.
Like sometimes rheumatoid arthritis is in the spine. You know, put it on the spine,
Fine. Okay.
wherever you have it. And you know, the thing is like the stiffness and the pain will start taking some of that out almost immediately.
Okay. Okay. Good
Yeah,
to know.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And for some reason,
Yes.
if it doesn't work, let me know. But
Okay.
that should get it. Like that concoction is,
Okay.
you know, it's got like let's look up because it's been a while since I've looked at that formula. It's a very old formula that they used to use.
I have it, well, it's on the website, I don't know if it's right, but rosemary, cedar, terebinth, black pepper, frankincense, birch, thyme, kunzea, cade, and petitgrant.
Right. Yep.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So
Okay.
it's
Yeah.
a version of that is like a very old formula that was used for arthritis back in like the 1700s. And they didn't have medications back then, so they would use that, and it would make everything mobile and move and not hurt, and
Okay.
so the I added the kunzea, and simply like the kunzea helps with flexibility in the joints. Like when you have like an arthritic condition or an area that's compromised, part of part of it is you get almost like this kind of form of tendonitis a little bit in there, and you get
Yes.
joint
Yeah.
mobility. And so that combination with the rosemary and the cedar and the terebinth and all of that, it's all helpful. But the kunzea even acts helps to increase the joint mobility. And if the more you can increase the mobility, it makes it like less, like the stiffer it gets, the stiffer it gets. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so if you can increase
Yeah.
mobility, like because of movement, you start reducing the stiffness and the pain, and everything starts getting a little bit better because you're able to move it somewhat. And so in
Yeah.
the old days, they used to have people with that kind of arthritis, like always doing things with their hands and stuff, like always moving them
Yes.
to keep mobility and stuff. And so, people will take up knitting, or there's those two Chinese balls where you're just constantly moving them in your hand. And, that's what that was for, was to treat
Yes.
arthritis.
And I did order some stuff from you guys last week. I got the Moroccan thyme and
Oh, good.
more
Yeah.
pine and some things you'd mentioned before for RA. And the Moroccan thyme, again, do I take that internally or is that a
Yeah.
topical?
Like two or three drops internal.
2 or 3 drops. Okay. Last
And
question.
that will
So,
really
yeah.
help reset the immune
Oh,
system,
okay.
so that it's not as, like, it strengthens the immune system, but makes it so that it's not having the autoimmune responses. So
Oh,
it's a
okay.
way to like kind of safely elevate the immune system without it like causing you problems.
Okay. Okay. But I didn't see the option to do the teeny weeny bottle.
Just email us and let us know, and if
Okay.
if we don't have it on the site, we can always do it. So
Okay, great. Thank you.
yeah, usually most of the teeny little bottles is because somebody's already asked for it at one point.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's all
All
that
right.
is.
That's all that is.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, I'll send an email. Thank you so much.
it's
All right, and then we'll do the chat questions and a few other things. Is there a recommended daily protocol and oil for hypothyroid?
so any hypo or hyper, I would say clove is your best bet. Clove, and I would also say um, using something like lemon verbena, which would, I take that back. Hold on. For this person, I would say frankincense and myrrh. Frankincense and myrrh just kind of helps to jumpstart proper function in the endocrine system, and then the clove would have a balancing effect on the thyroid itself. So and all of that would be internal. 2 or 3 drops of frankincense and myrrh, and 2 or 3 drops of clove in water. Do them separately. Like they can be 5 or 10 minutes apart, but do them separately.
Just see. Respond. Do you have a kit of all the chakra oils? I saw the minor chakra oils in the newsletter.
There's more coming out. So there's a little kit for the minor chakras, for the lungs, liver, gallbladder, kidneys, and then you're still working with the spleen, back spleen from the regular chakra class. There's that, and I'm not sure if they're going to be in a class, or I have them in a class, but I don't know if that class is ever going to see the light of day. But there's a lot of classes I have written that probably will never see the light of day. But we could form them. I have them for the arms, the legs, some other places as well. And so over the next few weeks, and then we can make it a whole like little kit where, we could do all the chakras or just all the minor chakras. Yeah. One that's interesting that we haven't put out yet is there's minor chakras for the diaphragm. There's 2 on the front, 2 on the back, and 1 on each side. And yeah, it's very nice. Yeah.
Is there a protocol and oil to work on bacterial infections in the sinus that have invaded the bone?
Oh boy.
My BIL was diagnosed with 2 antibiotic resistant strains of bacteria in the nasal cavity that have invaded the bones around his eye socket. I'm not sure how it was diagnosed, but there was some sort of invasive diagnostic action around the eye sockets.
Boy. I would rotate between Bayloral and Time-Thuyonol taken internally. I mean, I would start with that. I don't know how effective it will be, but those are the 2 like really strong antibacterial oils and would help that area as well. But that it's in the bone, that's what I would start with. Inhale them both, but definitely 2 or 3 drops of each, 1 to 2 times a day.
Is yarrow best taken in the morning or before bed? I assume separate from meals. Can you give a general rule for serving size, like 1 dropper per 100 pounds?
I would do a couple of dropper. I mean, if a person's real small, you could probably do like a dropper full, but like it would be more about the symptoms more than the size. And so, if symptoms are real severe, you could do a couple of dropperfuls, but if they're not so severe, 1 dropper full. You could do it a couple of times a day. Doesn't matter if it's morning or evening. Yeah.
Greg, what would I use in my gum tissues from many injections this morning?
Mm.
Salt water, and is there an oil?
Just from this morning. I would probably do cypress. Like I would take cypress and like put drops in and then rub it into the gums, rub it into the area. The other one that jumps out would be St. John's wort if you have it. I would just take that internal, like use it as a gargle and take it internal. And you could do both if you have them both. Do the gargle, take a few drops internally, and then rub cypress all over the gums.
Thank you. That's great. Thank you. I
Oh,
do
good.
have both. Thank you very much.
So good. How are you doing?
I was in that dental chair for 3 hours, and the medication they have to use to numb me up isn't long lasting. So they had to keep hitting it because they're working so close to the gums. So thank you so much.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
my pleasure.
And I know a lot of you guys know, but we are doing our best to post kind of recommendations as Greg talks about them in the chat. But also if you have any like specific oils you can't find on the site, or you have a size or anything, and you can always email us, and you can also do a personal product request as well. So try to make it easy for you guys. Yeah, go ahead, Lolly.
Hey,
Okay, hi. Just a quick follow-up on the yarrow. What did I want? Okay, yes. Quick follow-up on the yarrow. So if doing the tincture, would you do the same thing with 3 weeks on, 1 week off? Same as when you're doing with the
yeah, you go
oil?
3 or 4 weeks and then like a down week. If you
Okay,
skip a few days, you don't even need to do the week off. You know,
okay.
like
Okay,
sometimes
thank
you
you.
do it daily and sometimes you do it a day and then a day goes by and then another, you know, just take a little bits of breaks here and there.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
You're so welcome.
The cultivating the regenerative state. Could you talk more about that class?
Which one?
It is not this weekend's class. It's 2 weeks from now. Cultivating the regenerative state.
I have to look it up, sorry.
Healing from the inside out. We did get info on the website yesterday, so I think that might be.
Oh yeah, I remember this one. Yeah, so like with cultivating the regenerative state, you know, a lot of times we talk about like vagal tone. You're talking about the rest and repair. Like the degenerative state is when the defense mechanisms of the body or the sympathetic part of the nervous system are hyperreactive or have lost tone, and so that causes degeneration in the body. But even if you diminish that, it doesn't necessarily mean that your body's regenerating. And so regenerating is tied to rest and repair mode. And so with that particular aspect, you know, a lot of times we're talking in the past about the vagal tone. And, you know, here we'll still talk about vagal tone and do a little treatment of that. But also you're looking at the potential of healing, going into the healing process or deeper levels of parasympathetic activity that is beyond your normal parameters. So say if like you really get injured or if you really get sick or the body has like some sort of crisis or something, to be able to go deeper and deeper and deeper into that repair mode. And it has an impact on the emotions, it has an impact in the mind, and it's actually even tied to like spiritual states, like deeper spiritual states. And so, like I'm looking up here just to see, make sure I'm not mistalking here. So, part of the idea with regeneration is yes, you're regenerating your body. Yes, you're able to repair, but part of it is you're you're stepping away from the idea of looking at symptoms. And, you know, it goes back to kind of what I was saying about that flower. like you have these like symptoms and these things going on in your body and your emotions and your mind, and they're really more driven externally. But there's a part of you inside that is manifesting that. Like it's not that it's like, oh, my emotions are doing that or my mind is doing that, but when the body is like in a degenerative state or lacks the ability to regenerate, part of what happens is you start manifesting these symptoms or these conditions in your body. And so like talking with Lolly, like where there was a pretty serious car accident so long ago, like, it was probably like, I don't know, I think she said 20 years or something, right? And so, you go, oh, I get a little rest, I feel a little bit better. And if you talk to people who are going through things, they're chasing symptoms a lot and not really getting a lot of relief because the body is in a degenerative state. So even if you treat the symptoms, your body's still degenerating, right? And so you're slapping band-aids on things, but it's not getting better. Well, the flip side of it is sometimes our body doesn't have the greatest ability to heal or to regenerate. And so we want to start working these aspects of regeneration. And so, yes, it's vagal tone and yes, it's working the energy body somewhat. But if I go through and I look at some of the things that I was putting in the class, we're going to be working with cerebral spinal fluid circulation. We're going to be working with the five senses. We'll be working with some of the aspects of the intuitive mind. We'll be trying to shift how the brain is connected to the body. We've dabbled with some of this here and there, but this is going to take it to a much deeper degree. And the idea being that for example, like you have a very strong like love experience, right? Like you go, oh, I feel really good. I feel really nice about this. I've had meditation, I have bliss. And then you kind of go to your brain and you let the brain kind of absorb some of that nice feeling and it shifts how the brain works and it shifts, your body's ability to regenerate and it diminishes some of the defense mechanisms and things like that. But it also goes the other way. Like at some point, the brain is manifesting that sense of well-being or that ability to heal in the body as well. And so we'll be playing with aspects of going back and forth to, I don't even know that I'd call it like healing the body. It's almost like soothing the body out of um, out of that place where it just doesn't heal or it doesn't shift, it doesn't regenerate, it doesn't rest. And so we'll even be looking at some aspects of sleep that's very specific to this. And then anytime you play with cerebral spinal fluid circulation, a lot of times what you're having to do is sedate it, like you're having to calm it down, which calms down the defense mechanisms of the body and allows it to heal, like allows the body to heal. So you're stimulating deeper levels of parasympathetic activity. And so we'll even be looking at, like if you clench your jaw, for example, it makes the nerves hyper reactive, like your sensory nerves start firing more. It makes your adrenals overactivate. It makes your breath go short and rapid. It exaggerates and intensifies stress in the body, especially in the internal organs, just because the jaws are tense or wound up. So, we've talked about having the jaw technique that we put out there, but we're going to look at working the jaw, but we're also going to look at bruxing, which is the tendency to grind the teeth. And, it's not just always going to be treating the jaw. Part of the thing with treating bruxism or grinding, teeth grinding is there's also this muscle like under here that will cause it, and then also calf muscles. And so there's going to be ways that we go through and work that to just try to unwind all those components. But bottom line, even if you look at it from the point of view of energy, a lot of times what is deepening the level of healing is the balance between lower consciousness and higher consciousness. And the more that you tap into higher consciousness, the more that the body heals, the more the emotions heal, the more the mind heals. And so we're going to be working on this way of making a transition from being like more like, because the average person is like super excessively lower consciousness, right? And then as we kind of grow and develop, we start to bring in a little higher, and there's still a lot of lower, but it's literally like kind of disengaging that lower and moving it up into higher functioning, up in the upper centers of your energy body. But that aspect is you're shifting into higher consciousness, and higher consciousness actually divides up into three. There's waking consciousness, there's sleeping consciousness, and there's dreaming consciousness. And so, when we look at it, I'm going to say this, it's not going to be this technical in the class, but it's just kind of interesting. When we talk about like spadgery, when we're talking about, there's salt, sulfur, and mercury, right? Like there's these three components, or the three primes. They're working, those are physical manifestations of these three states of consciousness. Like that's why when I say the things about spadgery, it's like it balances the mind and the body, right? Part of why it's balancing the mind and the body is it's helping to bring in these higher aspects of consciousness that allows our brain to function better, our emotions to feel better, but it makes our body heal at a much faster rate. The lower consciousness is really tied to surviving, defending, and then degenerating, like the downward spiral. And so it's a way to shift out of patterns that you might not even recognize as patterns, but they're there. And then as you kind of shift out of them, you realize like you might recognize them, you might not, but all of a sudden your emotions feel a little nicer and you're a little bit happier and things are a little bit more elevated and the mind's a little bit more positive and not as repetitive. And then all of a sudden you go, my body feels better. It's that blossoming of the flower. Like you're shifting something deep within inside you that eventually manifests as how your body's feeling, how your body's functioning, how you're doing, the emotions, the mind. And so the more you work the regenerative state, the more you keep elevating your consciousness. So it's kind of what you try to do in meditation. It's what you try to do in certain types of meditation. And, we touch it in meditation, and then it's like, oh, this feels amazing. And then the next day, it's like, I went to work and now it's gone. It's a way to elevate and touch it and then not let go of it. And so that's the part that I personally like is, you have this nice experience, you make this shift, and then you go into kind of a situation that might not be that nice, but you don't end up letting go of it. You're still holding on to that state. So we're going to treat a bunch of different aspects and tie it all together. There'll be very clinical things, very straightforward things, and then there'll be little practices that you can do on a daily basis or, once a week or whatever it is. But yeah, it'll be a nice one.
And it's a free class, guys.
Yeah, it's a super free class. A lot of it is all stuff that oils that you guys have, and I don't know that there's anything new in there. There might be I think there's an etheric quartz premium if you have
Oh,
the
yeah, that's
choice.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I asked Greg to make me an etheric quartz premium.
Yeah.
He may have already had it made in the past and brought it forth. So anyway. Question.
Mhm.
I'm going to do a water fast for a few days.
Mhm.
My max has been 4 days a few years ago. Is there an oil protocol to stay hydrated and bind toxins that get released? Any advice on breaking the fast? I have planned to take electrolyte caps from Dr. Berg's site. Last time I had black coffee in the morning and water and vitamin C. It cleared up the brain fog and kick-started some weight loss. But again, the first two questions is oil protocol to stay hydrated and bind toxins that get released. And then the second part is advice on breaking the fast.
Well, the hydration part, Shazandra is always kind of the go-to thing. It helps like use the water more appropriately in the body or integrate the water. Like in Chinese medicine, you would say transmuting the water, but it just makes your body utilize the water better. So in times where there's dehydration or like dry mucous membranes, things like that, you would use Shazandra. Binding the toxins. Honestly, I would probably do like you could do cinnamon, but a lot of times traditionally they would use cayenne pepper with lemon, like lemon oil or lemon juice, and drink that on a daily basis. It keeps all the body's processes started, and lemon is a bit cleansing in that way. And so by stimulating on the body's processes, should help the body like process all of that. But yeah, breaking the fast, I mean, I don't know if I have any good advice there. I mean, do you have?
I'm not a faster.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just start gentle, and then, most times I think when I was fasting back in the day, I would come out of it and eat like just a little bit of fruit and stuff for a little bit, and then slowly work my way into something. But that's probably all I got there. So, but the
And,
cayenne pepper can be very, very helpful. Cayenne pepper with some lemon. That's super, super helpful.
and again, I wrote non-oil cayenne pepper.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
so
right.
you would just use.
You can get it at the health food store or something. Yeah, tincture. Yeah.
And then before we do a protocol or somebody else has a question, can I just give a little show?
Sure, sure.
So if you guys have not seen the newsletter yet, big news, very exciting news. Let me get what I want to show up real quick. So we've updated some stuff on our site. So if you hover over the shop page now, you'll see the Auric programming shop. And this is your go-to place where you can get kit size Auric program wheels. So we will be having that big booklet. A lot of you guys signed up for that because Greg lost a bunch of his notes. He's having to rewrite it. So even if you haven't taken art programming and you are getting the art programming book, this is going to be super helpful for you. One of the great things is you can just add it to your cart. Everything is all the same price. And If you're wondering, what should I look into? What do I want to do? Sorry, it has a little default here. Story oil. Let's go here. That's my computer. Anyway, so you can click and it'll actually tell you like the breakdown of each of the different oils. And then the other neat thing about this I wanted to show you is if you do have something you're working on, say you're like, I want to work with, I don't know, my Vagal Tone or something. You can type it in the search. Okay, maybe that wasn't the best one. It does work. Yeah, okay, so tone. I don't know which tone these things are toning, but if you have a specific kind of thing you're working on, it's a way that you can search, you know, like meditation or mental or something, you know, just something you're kind of working on, and it'll bring up the different art programs that is affiliated with. And then the other exciting thing we will be getting up hopefully by the end of the week is Greg has been putting in the blog on the newsletter. He's been putting in the newsletter for the blog and for you guys the different art programming kits, and we're actually going to put those kits up like for you guys with the protocols. So it's just an easy one click for each of those if you want to just do a stack or something like that. So lots of really fun things, and I just wanted to make sure you guys knew that was what was going on. And for you guys who do like the human design, it has not gone away. We have the human design shop now right underneath. And then even with that, that initial first page is just right here for that human design and essential oils journey. So everything's still here, just a little different look and some new things. And I just wanted you guys to know. And I don't think any more questions came in. We have a little bit of time.
So let's pull out Hyssop. And if you don't have Hyssop, pull out one of your favorite oils, but a single oil. But let's try to do Hyssop if you can. And we're going to do the version of the plant teachers with this. And I'm going to talk about Hyssop for just a moment. So Hyssop for plant teachers is associated with what you would call remembering. Now, it's not like memory of like, oh, where did I put my keys? It's more about remembering who you are, remembering your true nature versus your conditioned self. You know, talking about the higher consciousness and higher awareness is really, we kind of drift away from it, from all the human activity and the overstimulation and the stress and all of that. And so this helps us to remember who we are and more of our true nature. So pull out the hyssop and just start inhaling. And you're inhaling, and your awareness is on your heart, the center of your chest. And then move your awareness to the sex chakra. Your awareness is on the sex chakra. Where the sex organs are, you're taking nice, long, slow deep breaths. Your temples, your awareness is up on the temples. Your awareness is on the sex chakra and temples, both at the same time. Awareness is on the sex chakra and temples, both at the same time. And then just be still for a moment. Your awareness is on the spine. Nice, long, slow, deep breaths. Your awareness is on the brain. Nice, long, slow, deep breaths with your awareness on the brain. And then your heart. Your awareness is on your heart. And then your forehead. Your awareness is on your forehead. Your awareness is on the back head. Nice, long, slow, deep breaths with your awareness on the back of your head. You're going to do your heart, your forehead, and your back head, all three at the same time. Your heart, your forehead, and your back head, all three at the same time. Keep inhaling on all three of those centers, but as you exhale, you're only exhaling on the forehead. And then just pause and be still. Just be still. Be aware of your body. Just check in with your body. Where do you feel something jumping out in your body? Put your awareness on that spot. It doesn't have to have a rhyme or a reason. Just wherever you feel some in your body, put your awareness there. Just be still. Just let everything go. How does that make you feel? That was just one cycle. Usually we do 2 or 3, but how did that feel for you?
I have so much more energy.
Yeah.
I like passed out, but now I have.
Yeah, I know. It's funny for her to say, I have so much more energy, because she totally leaned forward and passed out on her computer keyboard. But she does look more alert now. Like, so this is the idea, is with the plant teachers, you know, different plants have different messages or a thing that they're teaching you, but it's helping to drop a piece of intuition, piece of information, or a message from intuition into the intellect, right? And then your intellect like maintains it, takes care of it, starts duplicating it, starts manifesting it out into the other areas of your world. And so, you know, Hyssop's a really good one to do it with, you know, because like I said, you're remembering that aspect of yourself that was before, you know, before high school and before the car accident and before that first breakup and that weird thing at work. And you know, it's like you just start going down the list. All of it takes a toll. You know, it all takes a toll. And so it's a way to unwind some of that stuff. And we're going to slip over to the Astora prayer petition blessing, and we're going to work the 5 senses without oils. So it would definitely augment what you just did. And so I would encourage you to join us over there. It's like 15 minutes. Like, it's not going to be a big thing, but join us if you can. And yeah, if
Free
not,
weekend this
this weekend and next weekend, both 2 free weekends. So hopefully I see you guys, you know, one or the other or both. So take care.